Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Well Woman podcast. First things first, we've got to kick this off with a thank you to our sponsors. Today's episode of the show is sponsored by my iced coffee and my son's grandma because she's kept him all day so I could get these things done. Thank you to my mom and thank you, iced coffee. Okay, moving on. Ow. Oh. A huge sip of this iced coffee just hits so different. I can't even explain to you. Actually, I can. I have a post going up on my Instagram telling you guys how I make my mineral and enzyme infused coffee so it doesn't give you that same cortisol spike that sugar-filled coffee or cafe-bought coffee does. And it's so much better for your nervous system. And it's so good because it has no refined sugar in it, just natural sweeteners. Anyways, we are going to be talking about a couple random here and there's today. I had some things on my mind in the last 24 or 48 hours that have been compiling, and I felt like with the energy of this full blood moon, I wanted to bring these to you. The first thing I wanted to chat with you guys about today was how we so often sit in focus and the energy of our problems rather than the energy of the solution. I catch myself doing this shit all the time and I find it so annoying, and it's so bad for us because I really want to be wired to be that person who's just immediately shifts to the positive, knows what I'm doing. I think what gets me is that this pattern still happens to me. I mean, I'm human, duh. I just wish I wasn't sometimes. I wish I was a magical fairy unicorn who didn't always fall back into these crappy patterns that aren't good to me, but you know what, fuck, we're human, right? Anyways, we manifest what we don't want because we're operating in that complaint state of mind. And so I try to have as much awareness as I can, but honestly, motherhood and not being able to check in with myself on a daily basis really yanks that away from me. But I know if you are single and you don't have a baby to look after, this is absolutely doable for you every single day. So the spiral kind of looks like this, and this is how you can start to create some awareness around it and notice it so you can shift it. Today, all I could think about was how I have 101 problems that I need to fix, but I didn't know where to start, what to work on creatively, if I should do house stuff, life admin, work stuff, finance. I have such a massive to-do list, and because I get such a small amount of time to focus on me, whenever everything gets quiet and someone's watching my son and I'm just with myself, I'm where the fuck do I start? And so then my brain went into, this needs to get paid for, you have to do this, that bill needs to be paid, reschedule this, organize this, and none of it felt positive. And then I caught myself and I was okay, I'm gonna go act like the person who's the solution to all these problems, because I could wander around the house and putter and fuck around and waste the whole day and be oh my god, I have as many problems going to sleep tonight as I did earlier today. Or I could just go get lost in activity or doing something and just start. I could just go start something and expect the rest to naturally happen as I get more into a focused and streamlined energy of being a problem solver rather than a problem complainer. I think because women are so much more emotionally attuned, when we are thinking about everything that needs to be handled and going on, come on, let's be honest, we hold the house together, right? We're the ones who fucking hold everything. These things snowball into a freaking mountain. And then, of course, you don't feel like you can do anything because you're completely shackled. You're oh my god, where do I start? What do I do? No one can make progress like that because it feels way too big of a feat. And it is way too big of a feat for one person to solve every problem in one day. So I decide that shifting my energy and where my energy is being focused is the easiest way to start. When this happens, usually what I do is I'm okay, go to your dreams and your goals. What are things that you want to do? What do you want your life to feel like? What makes you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? Make yourself a coffee, something that feels rewarding, genuine, loving, self-care, nurturing, or like mind opening, or allows you to like dream big possibilities, that's always a really good way to shift that focus and that energy. Another important thing to recognize if you're experiencing this too is that this is a surefire sign that you are spending way too much time in your own head thinking about the shit you want to do, but not enough time in deliberate action or like practice, ritual, like experience, growing the thing, doing the thing, even if you're failing and messing up and looking stupid. Like when I have a lot on my to-do list, but I haven't filmed any content and I'm like backlogged, I tend to get this creative fatigue block where I'm like, okay, holy shit, you have to film all these things, but like suddenly I don't even know how to like put on a jacket and film a video of me in a jacket. Like it's just things that shouldn't be hard become so freaking hard when you get tied up in your mind. And so putting some action there and just like working towards something, even if it doesn't have like a monetary goal or whatever, just spending an hour or two on something that's action oriented, not planning, organizing, being in your head, that's always the way that I fix this and get out of that creative block. And almost even like as I decide that I'm gonna get out of that complaint energy and that, oh my God, there's a million problems energy, that's when downloads start pouring in again. And if you're like me, like if you're anything like me, having that connection to your intuition and that like source knowledge, those creative things that just pour in and you're like, ooh, I have an idea, like that is the best feeling. That is like my version of adrenaline. Like I thrive on that. And whenever I'm cut off from that source, I don't feel like myself. And in motherhood, it's really hard to be connected to that source. So this is how I get that back. Switching to my next topic of the day, I was thinking about how people just live their life wanting more, but then not going and like doing anything about it or knowing that something in their life needs to shift or change. And they're just like, oh, why can't I just be normal? And why can't I just like accept what my life is and go with the flow of everything being really monotonous and boring as shit? Why can't I just do that? And I want to tell you that God doesn't give you these insane burning desires for you to just live each day without that thing that you dream about. Like he doesn't give you those, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to have this, I've got to achieve this in my lifetime for no reason. If God sees everything, all that is to happen, all that has happened, he's mapped all of it, right? He is the divine collector. Like God is the Akashic records, right? But he's also the divine creator. So he knows what must be done to keep this on track. To him, these things you're supposed to do, they're already done. But to you, you're sitting there every day wondering why you can't stop thinking about this thing, why you have this attachment to like, oh, I've got to go and be a marine biologist. Like, oh, I have to write this book about this thing. And like, oh, I have to be an actor, or like I have to help animals, or I have to start an animal sanctuary, or I have to make food. Like I just have to make food for people. All these things. You wonder each day, day in and day out, like why can't you let it go? You're not supposed to let it go. If God knows that you're meant to do this thing, he did not give you this burning, heart aching, keep you awake at night, driving deep desire to go after this thing. He gave it to you because he needs you to have it. And if you don't have that burning desire, and if you don't act upon it, you'll never have it. And he needs you to, because that is your mark on the world. That's your purpose. That's your contribution. That's your impact. And so many people are waking up every day ignoring God, constantly tapping them on their shoulder and being like, remember, this is what we chose for you. Why aren't you choosing it? And it will eat away at you, because if this is what you're meant to do, hun, it's not going to expire. It's not going to go away just because you ignore it long enough. No way. These things are ingrained in your DNA. If it's something you're supposed to do with your life, you are going to let days tick by, and I promise you, you'll get to the end of your life and you'll still wish you did that thing. Because it's not just something you decided to do or something you decided you love as a human being. It's what your soul came here to do. So next time you hear that like nagging of like, oh, I miss this, I love this, this brings me joy, why don't I do this thing that brings me joy, why don't I go for it, whatever. I want you to shift the question to, if I knew that God chose this for me, with me in mind, and I chose this too, and it's not optional, like I have to do it or my work isn't complete, why would I not allow myself to believe that I can do it? Why would I not allow myself to know that it's already done? If God mapped the entire universe and he knows, and he chose this role for me, why would I wake up every day and question if that role was meant for me? And then even farther, what would it look like to just like accept that you love this thing? And like, I want to open a restaurant. Accept that like, oh, I want to be like a performer. Accept that you want to be anything and everything that you want to be, and that all those different things that you love, they can coexist. I struggled with this for so long. I didn't understand how I could have a passion for health and wellness, but also want to be a singer, or how I could be so adept at public speaking and podcasting and writing, but feeling like, oh, well, that kind of conflicts with like, you know, me wanting to be like a homebody and like, I love plants and I'll just like read books and not take up a lot of space. Like, it's so interesting the way that we think we have to be one thing, and then when we want to be like 5 things, we're like, oh no, I'm doing too much. I'm doing way too fucking much. I need to calm down. How are you doing too much? Like, I think about other people and I'm like, okay, doctors have to get like all these different doctorates and degrees and all these things, and like maybe they study 5 different things, but then they also go on to write books, and then they also go on to like make medication, and then they also go on to do like public speaking and all these things. And I think that's normal when a doctor does it, but like, I'm not allowed to do it because I'm not as certified. What do you mean? You're allowed to love as many things as you want. And I don't care if it's in different categories, just giving yourself that permission to say every single one of my dreams has a place in my life. And speaking of dreams, I wanted to go into some reflection with you guys about my cosmetic business. And when I originally started my journey as an entrepreneur, when I launched my non-toxic cosmetic line when I was 17 years old, I have been kind of reflecting on this a lot, and all the layers of like what it did for me, what that time in my life meant to me. And as someone who's 28 years old, having fulfilled some of her dreams when she was a teenager, when she was 21, 22, and like really realizing the impact that I made on the world already, having a black cat is just like, people think orange cats are high maintenance. No, get yourself a boy black cat. A lot of this time that's gone by, I've definitely like undersold what it is that I did, but I have been reflecting on it in a way where I've been finally giving myself the permission and the admiration that what I have done deserves. I founded my cosmetic business when I was so young, and I was such a visionary. And in my town, I'm from Maryland, specifically Gaithersburg, Maryland, Rockville area, Germantown. If you know, you know. I'm a MoCo girl, and what I did at that time, nobody was doing that. And it was fucking epic. And I was such a confident young woman. I really was, especially someone who's come from, I would say, like a rough upbringing. I had a hard childhood. I've been through a lot. So many people have been through really tough things, but I do feel that God kind of laid that shit on thick for me. I'm not gonna lie. So to experience the kind of trauma that I had gone through in my young adult life, to be able to turn that around and show face as the face of a cosmetic company that I founded in my small town where no one cares about their health. It's just your average like American city where people don't eat well and they don't care about their body and they drink fucking soda every day and smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol and whatever. It's like, I was so young and I had the voice of my generation for my small little area that I lived in. Like, I was not scared to say that this is what I believe in. I didn't give a shit if people thought it was crazy. I was like acting like a grown ass adult who's in like her 30s around all these actual grown ass adults, and I'm like 19 years old and I'm like, no, this works and I made this myself and like this is good for you and you should pay me money for it. Like, I just was so ballsy, and I respect that version of me so much because I've always been so ahead of the curve. And I think I commanded not only a room, but my whole fucking town. I was so respected and admired for what it is that I built and what I did. And people were so devoted to my story of being an entrepreneur, being a female founder, having my own business, and sharing the behind the scenes of that was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my life. And I will never forget my time doing that. I will never forget what it took to become a woman-owned business. I actually had like a massive breakthrough recently where I realized that what I went through in high school and how badly I had been bullied. And by this time that I was launching my cosmetic company, I had already been in a very, very physically abusive relationship for a few years. And I had been abused by multiple men in my life and just been through some really tough shit where I was exiled and very, very deeply disrespected. I realized that what I got from sharing my success with you guys, with the world at that time, I felt a sense of respect. And that sense of respect from my success made me feel safe. This was a absolutely incredible thing for me to break through and realize, like, feeling like I could have respect from people made me feel safer in the world. I just went all fucking out. Like, I pounded the pavement and made myself into something. A local superstar who had this incredible business that was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and like making more than some of my family members' salary. And like, she's just going and going. And then she's like also a makeup artist. And now she's on a reality show on TV and like, but she's still from this small town. And then she's like into health and wellness and like she's living the shit too, but also running her business out of a warehouse at night in DC. Like, I just thought that if I just kept going, I could give people something to believe in. And I did. And I'm so fucking proud of that because I know I gave people something to believe in. But when you push yourself that hard, eventually that light goes out. And it did for me at some point. I worked so hard to build the community and the customer base and like hundreds of 5-star reviews. Like, it blows my mind what I did. But I'm also not surprised at all because like, I'm a perfectionist and I'm that bitch. So like, of course my products only had 5-star reviews. And like, of course everyone fucked with everything I released because I'm that bitch. Like, what do you mean? But it does take a toll on you when you have to be perfect all the time. And that's what you're selling. You're selling being like, I was what people were buying. Being the woman who knows how to take care of herself in every situation. She's always on top of her life, on top of her business. She has her money in order. She's making sales. She has friends, community, like absolutely everything. It was exhausting. And of course the other shoe drops eventually. I realized that something was really wrong when I had everything that I wanted and I still couldn't feel fulfilled. I had messages from women that would pour their heart out to me about the way that me going after my dreams and everything I've done and what it showed them, like, oh, you showed me this is possible and I never would have thought that I could do that. And I couldn't feel fulfilled by it. And I wanted to so bad, but I had burned myself out so much that I figured out the hard way that having that thing that you want, if you go about it in a way where you don't honor yourself and resting and like letting yourself get there at like not the most rapid pace possible, you will be numb because you're so tired, and you will be so stressed and overwhelmed that the vision won't feel the way that you thought it would feel when you got there. And now in my new version of life, where I'm a mom and, I run a business online, I don't do products at this moment, hint, hint, something soon. I realized that what I wanted all along was not to sell makeup. Like, that was awesome though, right? Glitter eyeshadow is better than anybody else's. That shit was awesome. But what I wanted was to feel like I was doing something for women. Like I was showing them that despite their circumstances, that they could do it, that they could have it, that they could be important, that they could make a mark on the world, that people could love them. Like, I think I went after this shit with such a vengeance because I was like, okay, everyone hated me so much. Everyone can't stand that I exist. I'm going to make you love me anyway. And I did. I literally remember like orders coming in from people who absolutely destroyed my life in high school and being like just mind fucked, where I'm like, yo, what? Like, they bought something from me. And that, when I think back to this, it was such a mind fuck then, because you're like, you're in it, right? And now in retrospect, when I'm like in a different chapter of my life, I can look back and think, you can make anybody a believer in what you believe in. And if you believe in it so wholeheartedly, and if you live it and you embody it, and you're like, no matter what, I'm that bitch. And even if you don't see it right now, you're going to see it tomorrow, or you're going to see it next week, or you're going to see it next year, but you're going to miss out if you don't see it. I was that way, and I ate, lived, and breathed it until other people did too. And even though I tend to undervalue what it is that I did, as an adult woman now, who's like inching closer to her 30s, I look at the confidence that I had, and I look at my just devotion to like making it happen. And I'm in absolute awe and admiration of myself. What I did is so badass. I cherish every single, oh my goodness. I cherish every single memory I have from that time. Like, it's so special when you build something that's yours. I didn't like work for a company and fulfill orders for a company. Like, no, I was there like every photo shoot. I remember I did the makeup for every model, and the models were my friends. Like, and I mean, I sourced the clothes, and like, I planned out all the shots, and like, I remember each launch day, like launching a certain product, and like the women's orders that came in. Like, I remember specific names, how much they spent, like watching the daily sales number go up, and like packing their orders, making new products, and being so excited to share it with this community of women that I built one by one, hand in hand, making them things from my home to theirs. And just don't even get me started on like the other mind fuck of like, Stephanie, you make skincare, and like, that's a part of everyone's daily routine. Like, these people every day pick up something that you made and they put that on their skin. That took me like years to wrap my mind around. The love that you guys have for Rose Elixir, I still just like, I don't even know how to comprehend it. I don't comprehend it. I'm just like so grateful that you do. I'm so grateful that something I made, something that I thought of, means that much, that people love it that much, that they are that obsessed, like diehard fans. Like, I created diehard fans. What? It's so surreal. It never becomes fully real. But I just need to allow myself to accept that, like, I had a winning period pretty early in my adult life, and not a lot of people have that. you know, we see people obviously who are in like movies and shows or who do music and they get a big break young. But that happened for me. And then that season of my life passed. And since then, not right at this moment, but there's always some lingering layers of this, I have felt like I can never outdo that chapter. And it feels like, I'm sure you guys have heard of how like Daniel Radcliffe says like Harry Potter is the biggest thing I've ever done. I'm never going to do anything as big as that. So it just feels like everything else is just like meh. And what I did for the small town I grew up in, it was massive. People don't do shit like that. And I mean, I had hundreds and thousands of orders from all over the country every single day. Like, we were shipping to every country in the United States we were shipping to every single state in the United States. And I don't even know how that happened. Like, I don't even know when that happened, how I did that. Just with being myself. And doing something like this when you're so young and like you don't really understand, you're just so after the vision, you get to be like a more cognitively organized adult. Like once you hit 25 and you're like, oh shit, life is like way harder than I thought, bro. Then you're like, oh, so I have to outdo this thing, but I'm not gonna have the energy and like the ambition and like the fucking grit that I had when I was like a kid, basically. Like when I was 18, 17, when I started this shit, like I had so much grit and edge. I didn't care what people thought. I just loved what I loved. And those parts of you break down when you become an adult because life leaves marks, it leaves scars. And I've had a really hard time making the space for myself to be like unsuccessful in comparison to that, or be like normal. Like letting myself be a normal person who's not a constant overachiever has been honestly one of the hardest, most trying lessons of my adult life so far, to be real with you. Every story has to have its either ending or a pivot, and I did so much in those chapters of my life. I believe it kind of ended when I was around 24, that I needed to go back and I needed to fall back in love with these things and what it is that made me just obsessed with it, like unable to sleep at night. Like, this is my purpose. I needed to go back to that again. And I feel like it's quite overdue for me to step back into an era where I'm fully back there in love with the thing and people get to see me living that passion again. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I'd love to hear your feedback. Please send me a DM and tell me what was your favorite Glamonizers or Only With Love product, or have you been to any of the pop-up shops that I had? Do you want to see a product come back? Are you like diehard obsessed with Rose Elixir? Like, let's just talk about it. Let's go back to some memories. I want to go down memory lane with you. Sometimes I have people send me photos of like really, really old products, and I'm like, you should not be using that. That is so freaking old. And they're like, no, babe, I just keep it for the archive. Like, this is literally OG. This is museum. We must keep this. And I totally get it. But I will say my mom has a really hard time parting with stuff that I make, even if it's so old. She literally won't throw it away. And I'm like, woman, I can make you anything whenever you want. And she's like, no, I'll just use this really, really old raggedy one because I love the old packaging. She's so cute. So I will talk to you guys in the next episode of Well Woman. If you have any feedback or if you want to send me an episode idea or something you want to hear me chat about, please let me know. And also, I am currently starting to take on guests for future episodes. So if you want to have a chat on the pod, please shoot me an email. Everything will be linked in the show notes. I'm sending you guys my love, and just please remember that you are not only as great as your next big season, you're as great as you remember that you are. Bye, guys.